everyone. My name is Dan Stander. I'm here with Scott Benavides. We're here with ASA. We've been members for probably 3 decades, give or take, maybe a little bit more. Our family businesses have been members for longer. And we're here with a new resource for you called SPARK, Safe, Profitable Automotive Repair Knowledge.
We're here in the iCar training facility here in Illinois to start a couple video series to hopefully help us with our business.
And those videos are going to be made to help you with any of the problems you have in your business. Scott and I have been very blessed to be in the industry for as long as we have been. We're now a little bit of the older guys in the industry, which is a little bit tough to take right now. But we've had so many great entities share training, networking, educational information with us that we want to share that with you, whether it's manufacturers, whether it's trainers, whether it's consultants. And we'd love to invite you to come along on this ride with us. And if you're one of those experts, we'd love to have you on this program so you can help others too, because our goal ultimately is for good, safe, proper repair. ASA SPARK.
Let's discuss photo aids, Roger, in why we're photoing the estimate, why we're photoing the car. Let's talk about some aids.
Well, when it comes to aids, you have to be very careful because your whole job as the image taker is evidence collection and to show the severity of that damage and how things went into the car, chain of events. So if I am looking at a car on the outside, because of its shiny surface, I can pick up reflections within the room and or in the area, and I can use that to show the severity, the amount of damages in that area. So that's one way I can do that.
And I think depending on the room, Roger, sometimes our people get lazy and they only take it maybe from one angle. If you review that photo, you might go, hey, I got great light on this side. I have no light on the other side. What should I do? Probably maybe take the time to turn the car around.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're going to be respraying that file again, which I don't know if we've talked about respraying the file. Going, if we had to paint that car multiple times, we'd figure out a better way. But for some reason, we're still really good about maybe taking poor photos and going, well, I get a better photo later.
You know, there's a term used in the insurance world called presenting the damage. Here it is. And so they are looking for that. And as repairers, now that we're taking those images, we have to make sure that we are properly presenting the evidence on the car. And even if the insurance company sends in a representative, I want to make sure that they are properly presenting the damages so that they don't get pushed back from their bosses or supervisors.
Very important.
Yep.
Now, sometimes in my shop, we start using aids like these that make it a little easier. I want my photo taking to be easier. I want it to show more. How does this help or hurt us in our collision industry?
Okay. I have looked at repairers out there using these marker pens, and they're fine. But the problem is it showing all the damage? So let me give you a couple examples. If I'm going to do this, let's say I had this scratch right here in this door. I want to encourage my image takers to use their camera skills to get that without this. But what they typically do is they'll circle this like this and then take an image of that circle. When I have inspected those images, I find that sometimes the damage exceeds that distance in that circle. Thus, you're now shortchanging yourself. And also, too, when you do this, and at the insurance side, because it's a legal issue, somebody collided with something, we never know when they're going to go to court. The courts look at this as an altered image. And so if there is not a supportive image that does not have that circle first, to show the jury first and then bring in the altered image, as they call it, they will dismiss all that evidence. So then it challenges the outcome of the case. So we want to be very careful not to use where we're drawing on things because it can actually...
Hey, Roger, so how about, so we don't want to draw on things. How about if hey, Scott, you get the photo now. I'll point at it. What about pointing at the photo?
Okay. If these cases go to court, here's what's going to happen. The jury will see the hand. The hand now is attached to a body, which is a witness. And they will ask this individual to show up on the stand and give their testimony if the case becomes challenged. So using people is not a good plan. You want to try and keep them out of it as much as possible.
What if we use a pointer like this? What if he was to point at the pointer with a...
Okay, this can also be, it's almost like it's going back into the same position as circling. You're bringing attention to that area, but you need to take an image without that and then an image with that. So you're actually uploading 2 images to support that position.
Because I think, Roger, sometimes that may be appropriate, because at times, if I just take a picture of that and somebody that's reviewing that, again, whether it may be our people or a desk reviewer or whoever's paying the bill that wants proof, they may go, I looked at that picture, I didn't see anything, but at least if we're pointing it out. But so you're saying we really should have kind of a before photo clean, and maybe then an after photo pointing out, so if they need to go back to that photo, they can really see the damage.
So there are 2 things in play there. First, if I couldn't see it without the enhancement, then what makes me think I'm going to get it with the enhancement? And so then it comes into play that is there really something there to the extent that you're saying it is? So the goal is to work on my image skills, to change lighting in the area, to change reflections, whatever the case may be, use the environment to bring in reflections that support that.
And I think one lazy thing that we do, again, is sometimes the environment is not right to show that damage, and we need to really change the angle of the car to get our good photo.
Correct.
And again, QCing our photos. We need to quality control our work to make it as best as possible. Just like we expect the painter to make sure the color matches, the bodyman to make sure he has his put back together right, his work is good. We expect the detailer to clean their car. We need to expect good quality photos.
So let's talk about the bigger picture. If you are going to come back and say, well, we're pressed for time and we have a lot of work ahead of us, think about how much time you have in catching up. Phone calls coming back in. Now you've got to do the review on your file. Now you got to look at your images and go, are they good or bad? And do I have the evidence that I need? And all these delays. Plus now, maybe the car is going to be held up until the decision is made by that bill payer. How many hours are tied up into that whole process when I could have just invested maybe a few minutes more in the beginning and done it correctly?
We need to stop the mentality of, I can get that better later.
Right.
Because later is a lot more time. Never enough time to do it right the first time, but always enough time to do it 2, 3, 4 times.
Yes.
Dan, what about using a flashlight? How does that come
Oh, yeah, I forgot, Scott. That's a great one. So if you guys have seen the flashlight, a simple way to explain that is kind of the piece of paper that we can use, and we can kind of see that if we move this over and take the flashlight, make sure I can get this turned on. A little bit bright there. Sometimes, again, a flashlight that has multi levels of lighting can be kind of good, because sometimes the lighter light can show something a little bit different. So a flashlight is a great tool sometimes to show damage on a car. We're just using a piece of paper here to kind of get the point. And again, you can see where the damage is.
And the reason for the different levels of light on that flashlight is that when I'm doing my initial inspection, the brighter it is, the more I light up the area, the more I can see and actually uncover. And then when I'm going to image it, I can turn it to a lower level, which won't flood the camera with too much light, and I can get the outcome of evidence that I need to capture that.
So typically with a little bit of education, and again, AMI has some classes on this, ICAR has great classes on this, to put more things in your mental toolbox to make you a better repair planner, better estimator, better adjuster. This works for all of us. It's not that it's just for one industry. There's all of our industry can help with this.
Exactly.
And Roger, why is education? I mean, anybody can take a picture. I mean, kids are taking pictures nowadays, right and left. I mean, why the education to take the pictures?
Because if I don't have the proper evidence and I'm working on multiple cars, you take the profits from those cars and you multiply them out by the day, the week, and the month, and the year, and you're talking sometimes millions of dollars. And by the time, if I don't focus on improving my skills by learning how to use the equipment properly, I am hurting not only my productivity, but the whole productivity for the whole business, because the damage assessor controls the entire business model.
And Dan, I know that I send my guys to training, especially the bodymen and the painters, but sometimes we forget to send those photographers to training.
Yes. And even if your CSRs are doing some of the imaging, you want them in training, because they're capturing, when you're doing file review or reviewing the assignment, you are looking at all the different angles to see if you're getting the proper assessment. And if the intake images differ from the actual professional images taken by the repair planner, now they're going to have questions for you and they're going to challenge you.
All right, guys. So some more great information to help your mental toolbox and reduce some of your pain points from ASA Spark.
Thank you for joining ASA Spark.
We appreciate you guys tuning in. We're looking for suggestions, comments, feedback. If you're also an industry expert or an industry leader, we'd love to have you on to help the ASA family and make us all better for safer, better quality repairs, customer satisfaction. Again, thanks for joining ASA Spark.